Man dies and sees the light. Unveiling his incredible conversation with spirit guides. Welcome, everyone. In the depths of his struggle, imagine grappling with a relentless asthma attack, an affliction that drove him straight into the sterile confines of a hospital room. As he lay there, gasping for precious breath, medical professionals sprang into action, their swift hands administering a mysterious substance akin to the general anesthesia that would later cradle him during surgeries yet to come. The intervention brought a semblance of relief, each inhalation a victory, but a shadow loomed over this fragile respite. Exhaustion clawed at him, gnawing voraciously at his strength until he surrendered to the seductive embrace of slumber, his breaths a fragile memory. Then came the twist of fate, an abrupt transition into an alternate realm where time danced to an unfamiliar rhythm. The setting? A hospital bed shrouded in uncertainty, besieged by the clinical gaze of a vigilant medical team. Yet this was no ordinary dream. It was an enigma wrapped in the shroud of a mystifying physical sensation, one that eluded the constraints of ordinary description. An unsettling presence that clung to him, ensnaring his senses in an otherworldly riddle, defying his attempts to rouse from this surreal reverie. Eventually, he found himself suspended above an individual, initially failing to recognize that this prone figure was, in fact, his own corporeal form below. Noticing his mother in a corner of the room, concern welled up within him. It was at this juncture that he comprehended this wasn't a mere dream. His primary longing was to return home. His next awareness enveloped him in nighttime surroundings, standing outside the house, peering through the kitchen window. Regrettably, he found himself unable to enter the house or attract the attention of the family members within. This predicament deeply troubled him, and time elapsed. Navigating through the darkness, he eventually encountered others similarly disoriented about their surroundings and situation. It's a complex experience to convey, but they shared a common characteristic: they lacked a substantial physical presence. Through this shared bafflement, they formed connections and cultivated empathy, akin to a group navigating in the dark, aware of one another's presence but unable to perceive each other clearly. From this point onward, the sequence of events took on a disjointed quality. His recollections fragmented, occurring in a seemingly simultaneous fashion, untethered from the linear progression of time. When asked if he traversed a tunnel, his response is, not exactly. There existed a light, initially faint and distant, progressively approaching and intensifying. In the embrace of that radiant light, he encountered a profound love that moves him to tears as he recounts it. His fervent desire was to guide those lost in the darkness back to this luminous realm, but his agency was limited. Despite the awe-inspiring beauty of this domain, he assumed a passive role. Describing the ensuing events presents a formidable challenge. It felt as if an entity within him communicated in an unfamiliar language, yet he comprehended it as a narrative encompassing both his current and past lives, an introduction to another entity. This was followed by a life review, akin to reliving select moments from his life up to that point. During this review, he experienced not only his emotions, but also the emotions of those affected by his actions, words, and thoughts. These were instances when alternative courses of action, sounder judgment, and emotional restraint could have been exercised. The experience proved profoundly humbling. Despite having experienced merely 7 years in his present life, he contemplates the nature of the next one. While he possesses greater awareness of his influence on others, he continues to grapple with moments of emotional turbulence, lapses in judgment, and occasional lapses in empathy. This encounter has rendered him acutely aware of his imperfections, underscoring that perfection remains elusive. It serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of mindfulness, a perpetual endeavor demanding unwavering attention. At a certain juncture, he encountered a guiding presence, an entity seemingly entrusted with assisting him in the decision between returning to his current life or embarking on a new one. He characterizes this presence as a guide, imbued with a distinct feminine energy. While his curiosity extended to this guide and their surroundings, the primary focus of this experience emerged as a choice rather than an exploration of their identity. It paralleled a session with a guidance counselor, with his emotional investment in his current life making the prospect of starting anew a formidable challenge to embrace. During this remarkable encounter, he found himself granted glimpses of his future life. akin to approaching a screen and instantaneously inhabiting those forthcoming moments. In those instances, he experienced the emotions that would accompany those times, specifically concerning the trajectory of his present life if he were to persist along that path. While one might assume that such revelations would endow him with prescient abilities, it's essential to consider his predisposition to grapple with intricate information. He possessed a penchant for focusing on the broader canvas, often bypassing finer intricacies. However, within that ethereal realm, clarity reigned supreme, rendering the comprehension of complexities an effortless endeavor that eluded him in his earthly existence. Despite occasionally receiving intuitive impressions about people and situations in his present life, they paled in comparison to the vivid sensations he retained from that transcendent realm. Following this near-death experience, occurrences unfolded in his life that bore the hallmark of déjà vu, an eerie sense of familiarity even with individuals he had yet to encounter. The glimpses he witnessed resembled choices made when the spectrum of options was limited, guided by an innate conviction of "this feels right, this is the path to follow." Informed during this enigmatic sojourn that persisting with his present life might impede the realization of his utmost potential, he grappled with the nebulous prospect of starting anew, bereft of guidance or insight. Within this transcendental domain, clarity manifested as an all-encompassing entity detached from self or ego. It revolved entirely around the purpose of his existence, the lessons to be learned, experiences to be had, and growth to be achieved. Upon his return to corporeal form, an enduring yearning for that realm took root, its memory a constant presence in his thoughts. As spiritual entities, their earthly tenure serves as an arena for growth and the acquisition of specific experiences. Memories spanning the period preceding and following his birth persisted. He distinctly recalled a conscious selection of his parents based on their personalities and inherent kindness. On a deeper level, he was convinced that the choice of asthma had been made to evade the errors of a prior life. This near-death encounter, he believed, had been intended as a poignant reminder of his purpose within this existence. With the conclusion of this account, the question lingered: could spirit guides or guardian angels possess the capacity to influence the decision to return? He welcomed your thoughts and contributions in the comments section below. Until the next encounter, stay safe and may blessings continue to grace your lives.